This mother left behind a will. To her eldest son her home, to her second son the car, and to her youngest daughter. The true story you'll see in this video was sent to us by a 30-year-old writer, only identifying herself as Isabel, who wanted to share her life experiences. She remembers what happened as if it were yesterday. A few years ago, in the Argentinian capital Buenos Aires, in a neighborhood called Palermo on the country's coast, there was a typical couple living happily ever after. They gave birth to their first son, then the second, and after some time, decided to adopt a daughter. Years passed and the children grew up. The eldest fell in love, dropping out of university, getting married, and going to live independently with his wife. The second son moved out to another neighborhood, wanting to be closer to his university, getting an apartment with the help of his father. The third adoptive daughter was still a minor, so she stayed home as she continued her studies in high school. But the family's happiness soon came to an end. Their father, the family's pillar of support, suddenly passed away from a heart attack. It was an unexpected, fateful day. On the day of the funeral, neither of his sons attended despite knowing it was on. The youngest daughter accompanied her mother, as some friends and family were in attendance. Of course, the mother was reeked with sadness. The loss of her husband was already a hard enough blow to her heart, but the fact that neither of their sons went to say goodbye to their father was worse, and she didn't understand. The man who died gave them everything and took care of them all their lives. The eldest son just apologized, saying he couldn't get any time off work. And the second son said he was in the middle of exam period and was simply studying with a heavy heart. The woman had no choice but to accept their excuses, and after her husband's death, she received his inheritance. She became the proprietor of the house and everything they'd shared before, including the car, an expensive modern car that her husband had gone to great lengths to obtain and pay for. Suddenly, the two sons came home to visit their mother. They already heard about the inheritance, so they went to check in with her about it. The eldest son requested, "Mom, leave me the home. I have children and you know that living where we are is already tough as is. The rent is high. Dad used to help with that and, you can stay with us if you like." As for the second son, "Dad's car can be of use since public transport is torture in the city. It'll help a lot for my studies." The older brother butted in saying, "You don't know how to drive. Besides, I need it too. I have kids, you know." "Yes, but I need the car to go to my studies." The youngest daughter, listening in on the conversation, asked, "What can I ask for?" The mother suddenly spoke up. "I'm grateful that you came to see me even for this." While her children finally listened to her for once, she added, "I'm not dead yet. I can't take this anymore. I'll tell you what I'll do." She told the eldest that he could live there with her, but he wouldn't get the deed to the house, and the second wouldn't get the car. Angry, the two men left the house. With time, their visits to their mother were less and less frequent. Even if they did show up, it was always to do with the inheritance and their mother giving in and giving them what they asked for. It was the first time they'd been deprived of something. But the question is, why didn't the mother want to give in to her kids' wants? Her whole life she'd refused to face reality, but she knew she couldn't continue. It was wrong to spoil them and give them everything. It was her and her husband's fault in the first place, as they spoiled their children from a young age. Little by little, the brothers stopped visiting their mother altogether, realizing that she wouldn't give them anything. After a while, the now elderly woman's health began deteriorating. The loss of her husband and the realization about her children were very difficult for her. The mother was obviously strongly upset. She only now woke up and realized how greedy and cruel her children grew up. Only the youngest daughter, Isabel, was always by her side. After leaving school, she always came home to cook for her mother, who was bedridden by a stroke. Afterwards, she was admitted to the hospital, where only the daughter was with her, of course. She was discharged eventually, but couldn't really move much, so relied even more on her daughter's help. Then, a new tragedy struck the house as the mother passed away from another stroke. It's not known whether it was from the guilt over her children or from the sadness of losing her husband, or maybe both. Yes, grief itself often attracts disease. Before passing away, though, she left a will. Of course, the eldest inherited the house and the second the car, since he loved it so much. And as for Isabel, well, nothing much. In fact, there was nothing for her in her will at all. But Isabel remembered that her mother told her something before her death. "My daughter, I want to give you this box that I've always kept under my bed. It's been around for a long time and I want you to open it when you turn 18. This is my gift to you. I'm sorry I can't be there with you." The girl took the box, which wasn't heavy at all, but she never asked about it because she didn't even want to think of a world without her mother. As soon as they received word of their mother's death, the two brothers started preparing documents to receive the inheritance. They seemed more relieved and happy than grieving. The eldest told Isabel, "Since you're still a minor, I don't want to take responsibility for you. Also, you're not my sister, and to be honest, I'd have to pay more just to keep you around. I'm sorry, ask my brother if he'll let you stay with him instead." The girl knew very well what the other brother would respond. Luckily, her mother had gotten in touch with her aunt right before her passing. Isabel's aunt, living in a nearby province, agreed to take her in. So the girl packed her things and went to the bus station looking for her aunt. She was greeted with open arms. Her aunt was a teacher at a school and a single woman, so she was happy for the company. Finally, the girl's birthday arrived. At the age of 18, she and her aunt opened the box that her mother left behind. It was full of all sorts of things, moth-eaten and dusty, with a distinctive smell. There was mostly pictures, and the girl started crying when she saw pictures of her family. Eventually, Isabel realized there was a false bottom, and with the help of a knife, opened it. She found a letter written in her mother's hand. "My daughter, forgive me for not including you in the will. If I leave everything to you, your older brother will become your guardian and start processing documents to withdraw your inheritance. Same with your second brother. By the time you'd become an adult, you wouldn't have had anything left, so I had to think things through. I'd always spoiled those two, as you saw. I'm sorry for what I did, but it's enough that you're my daughter and we always love you. Your father and I, though we didn't know it much, you should know that the most important asset your father left was you, not the house or the car. Your father had a brother who lived in DC and was away. This brother never married and worked in journalism. He owned several houses here too and made a good amount of money. He died long ago and left your father most of the possessions, then he married me. We never discussed this with you. Your father never wanted to get anything from his brother, but he was the sole heir by law. I couldn't leave you with nothing, so I re-registered you and my sister as the heirs. Your brothers don't know about this. It's worth quite a bit more than the house or the car. Once again, forgive us if we weren't good enough parents." Isabel and her aunt then found more documents confirming the letter's contents. They had in fact been the heirs to that enormous fortune. No doubt an incredible story. Sometimes it turns out that our children become the most cruel. But do you give them everything and satisfy their wanton wants? This mother seems to have awakened to her errors, eventually doing the right thing. We thank Isabel for telling us her story. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you won't miss our latest uploads.